You know, there's this whole corner of the internet that's just mastered the art of making you feel special. I'm talking about a content machine that's racked up billions of views. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and dissect the psychology behind it. It all comes down to a strategy that feeds on one single, really powerful emotion, that feeling of being misunderstood.
I mean, it's a feeling pretty much all of us have had at some point, right? That sense that you're kind of on the outside looking in, that you just see the world a little differently than everyone else. Well, it turns out that that exact feeling is the key that unlocks an entire universe of online content. So, in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to deconstruct this whole genre. We're pulling back the curtain to show you how creators build these huge audiences, all by zeroing in on that specific feeling of being an outsider. And see, the target audience here isn't, a simple demographic. It's an emotional one. This content is basically tailor-made for anyone who's ever felt like their thoughts were maybe a little too deep for other people to get, or that they were just operating on a totally different wavelength than, the quote-unquote average person.
So yeah, this whole corner of the internet, we can call it the misunderstood niche. And its goal is super clear, and it's carried out with a strategy that's, well, it's surprisingly simple, but incredibly effective.
Okay, so the core tactic is really all about creating this us versus them feeling. It's designed to validate you, the viewer, by basically saying, hey, you're not weird, you're special, you're not alone, you're just part of this select group that the rest of the world just doesn't get. Bam, it's like an instant shot of belonging.
So here's how it works. This niche runs on a super simple but really powerful formula. It takes these common, almost universal human experiences and it reframes them as signs of something exceptional. So for example, feeling awkward at a party? Nah, that's not just social anxiety. It's actually a sign of your superior intellect. Or maybe your heightened sensitivity being overwhelmed by all the trivial stuff.
So, how do creators actually do this? Well, they lean on a pretty consistent playbook of topics. You'll see them pop up again and again, and they're all designed to hit that exact same nerve. Let's dig into some of these core themes. And here we go. I'm sure you've seen videos with titles just like these. See, each one has a specific job to do. The high IQ stuff, that's there to flatter your intelligence. The power of introverts, that turns a personality trait into a legit superpower. Content about spotting manipulation, it validates any feelings of mistrust you might have. And of course, habits of gifted people makes all your little quirks seem like signs of pure genius. But look, out of all the tactics in this playbook, there's one that is absolutely more crucial than any of the others. This is the real secret sauce, right? The core promise that makes this content so compelling and honestly pretty addictive for its audience. And here it is. The most important part is this. We all want to know why we feel the way we do, especially when it comes to negative feelings. And this content comes along and gives you a simple, flattering, and totally validating answer. It gives you a reason for your discomfort, and that reason makes you feel powerful, not weak. Okay, and this slide, right here, this just illustrates the magic trick perfectly. This is the absolute core of the whole strategy. See, you're not just anxious in crowds anymore. No, you have high emotional intelligence that makes you sensitive to other people's energy. You're not suffering from social isolation, you're demonstrating cognitive independence. It takes a real pain point and just flips it, reframing it as a genuine strength.
When you lay it all out like this, the psychological power just becomes crystal clear, doesn't it? It's simple, it's repeatable, and it's a deeply effective formula for making an audience feel seen and understood. Maybe, for some people, for the very first time.
Let's just break it down into 3 simple steps. First, you identify a really common negative feeling, like loneliness. Second, you frame it as a sign of some rare positive trait, like being a deep thinker. And finally, step 3, you validate the viewer's experience. You tell them, see, there's a reason you feel this way. It's because you're special. It's this incredibly powerful and honestly very comforting psychological loop.
And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. This whole genre of content is designed to do a kind of emotional alchemy. It takes that heavy weight of feeling like an outsider and it transforms it into a shiny badge of honor. But it does make you wonder, right? What happens when that badge of honor stops us from actually exploring the real feelings hiding underneath it? So next time you're scrolling through your feed, just keep an eye out for this pattern. Because I promise you, once you see this formula, you're going to start noticing it everywhere. And that leaves us with a big question. What other kinds of online content are using this exact same playbook? And
What are the long-term effects of getting this kind of validation over and over again?